In the previous lecture, we saw how a new release for both our Android and our iOS projects is ready. So now during this lecture, we're going to take a look at how is it that our users would be able to install this build. And I am going to start here on Android. And as we saw before, when our users log into their App Center, either with the link that we provided, or as we saw earlier with the QR code that gets generated for our beta testers group, they are going to be navigated right here. And of course, as we saw earlier, we can also navigate here to the left and see all of the apps. But currently, I am going to be using that Android app. And now, of course, our users are going to be able to see this release available. So all they will have to do is click on the download button. They may see a message like this so that Chrome, my browser in this case, can access the storage access to download files. Click on continue, click on allow, and the file is going to be downloaded. Now, because this is an APK file, they may see this small message by Android letting them know that this file could harm their device. But they're part of your team, hopefully they do trust you, so they can click on OK and see how the APK file has been downloaded. Just click on open and we're going to see that file. Most of the times they will be able to install directly. Now if they see this message, like in my case, they can just go over to settings to allow this app to be installed. So simply allow unknown apps downloaded through Chrome to be installed and they would be good to go. Now they will be able to click on the install button and this APK file would be installed. There is a chance that they would also see this message right here that the Play Protect doesn't recognize this app's developer. We can install anyway. Eventually, of course, when we have everything in the store, this is not going to happen and users will be able to easily install this file. Right now, we are now going to be able to open our application. And here you go. Our very simple application has now been added to this device and we can see it working. All of this now with continuous delivery. So we see it working here on Android perfectly. Let's now jump over to an iOS device. Now I am here on iOS. And on iOS we're going to see something very similar to what we just saw on Android. Of course, we can navigate over to all apps and see all of our apps, including the Android app listed in here. But of course, we're going to be using the iOS app. From here, all the users will have to do is click on the install button. Click on install again, and the application is going to be downloaded over here on the device, as you can see right here. And I can click on the application, click on login, click on the other login button, click on add, and basically everything is working correctly. So there you have it. It also works on iOS perfectly. Now, it is likely that your users here from App Center, they may see a prompt to download another file, in addition to the file that installs the application. That file would be a profile that in some cases is going to be required for your applications to be installed on those devices. So they will have to navigate over to settings. And in settings, navigate over to general and navigate down over to the profile section. They would see something very similar to this. They simply have to click on that profile and install it. Now, this is not the profile that I'm referring to. This is an iOS beta tester profile, but they will see something very similar, just as I'm seeing right here. But there you have it. This is how you can run the application, install the application also on iOS devices. As you can see, we've already tested this on both Android and iOS. It works perfectly. Now, in the next lecture, we're going to be preparing a store. Because so far, we've only been installing directly through App Center, but we want to be able to deploy this application to anyone in the world. So we will have to configure not only the test branch, but also the master branch, which is not going to be deploying to a distribution group, but to either the Apple App Store in the case of our iOS project, or the Google Play Store in the case of the Android project. So let's jump over to the next lecture and prepare our projects to be delivered through the stores.